Welcome to ITM University Online. So I'm here today to explain what do you mean by public issue. So there is a myth that the public issue is only for equities, but that's not correct. We usually call it as public issue of securities. So it includes equities and debt instruments as well. So usually a company will go for a public issue of equities or bonds and debentures as well. So what exactly is this public issue? So when a company is formed, it has a sole proprietor and he is the only shareholder of the company. So the entire equity will be in his hand, and he runs the company and he borrows some money from the bank and other financial institutions, and he runs his business. So probably when the company grows, he needs more money, and again he borrow, and towards some time he will be in a compulsion to go public. That means he have to dilute his ownership by issuing securities, or he have to issue debt instruments and tune up capital for his business. So that process, when he is going to the public to collect money by issuing his ownership or by issuing debt instruments, that process is called as a public issue. So how it can be done is, when he is going for a public issue of his equity shares, that means the 100% of the equity shares is with him. Though he is the only shareholder of the business, the entire ownership is in his hand. So now, when he go for an issue of his equity shares, his ownership, he convert his ownerships into equity shares, and he will sell these shares to the public. So the public who want to take part in the ownership can buy the share and exchange their money to him, and he invests that money into the business, and towards the end of the year he shares the profit with the shareholders based on the proportion of stocks they hold, because the profit will be shared in form of dividend. So dividend, in the sense, it goes to per share. So that's how it works out. So how this public issue happens? Here he can offer his share to many people who are eligible to be an investor. Like he can go for the whole public issue goes in a retail. That means to all, which includes the retail individual investors or the institutional investors, whoever it may be, it goes. Next, he can make his issue to institutional investors only, to preferred group of people he can plan it off. So the issue can be of different types, like a full public issue, or his private placement, or preferential issue, or like right issue, bonus issue. In many ways he can do it. So what happens when he issue his ownership to the public? So people may think, oh, what will happen if I issue my ownership to the public? I'm losing my ownership, or rather my business will be shared by many people. That is not correct, because when you go public, you get more money to run up your business. So your business become a diversified business. The boundaries of your business expands, and you get more income, and that will be shared among the shareholders, and public will have a big acceptance, and people who have money will prefer to buy your stocks through the issue. So now you may have a question. So when I go public, my equity, the investors will buy my shares, and is the dividend only income to them, or can I attract my investors by showing my dividend or my profit? No, that's not the only thing. A person who buys your share will get dividend. Of course, when you are in profit, they get the dividend, and they have something called as capital appreciation. That means the share which you have sold to the shareholders, that is, they can sell it to someone else. It doesn't mean that they cannot sell it. They can transfer their shares to someone else, and they can get money for that. For example, I'm a company, I issued a public issue, and I sold my shares to the public, for example, for a short price of ₹1,000. So now Mr. A bought my stocks, and now he want to sell the stocks to someone else. He don't want to sell at the same price of the stock in which I have offered to him. He can hike up the price. He can tell to the investor. He can tell to the investors that this company is growing like anything. This company is having a huge profit. So now, if you want, you can take shares from me. I bought it for 1,000. If you want, I can give it for 1,500. And they negotiate. And since the news about my company goes very positive, the demand for the stock goes very up in the market, and he can sell at a very good price. And that difference is his capital appreciation. He bought from me at 1,000 and he is selling to the other person for ₹1,500. So he is getting a capital gain of ₹500. That becomes a very attractive factor of equity shares. Now, coming to the public issue of debts, how I issue is, I tell to the investors that I am going to issue debts. So debts means it doesn't carry the ownership. It carries only something like a lending of money. I borrow money and I pay interest. So that's the bonds or debentures. So what I do is, how much money I want, I will convert that money into bonds, and I sell the bonds to the public, and public buy my bond, and I will promise a percentage of interest every year. Right? And that interest, if I am in profit, if I am in loss, I have to pay that interest, no other go. And here, the person who don't want to take risk, they can opt the debt instruments. So there the interest is fixed and he will get it. And again, equity shares don't have a maturity period, but bonds, yes, bonds have a very clear maturity period ranging from 3 years to 30 years. So any number of years it can be. So if I am selling a bond which carries a maturity period of 10 years, so every year on a predetermined date, I have to give the interest to the people who hold the bond. So that is the bond. When I go public, I can go public with bonds as well. So here the attractiveness of bond is not only the interest which I pay, but also the capital appreciation. So the interest which I pay is called as coupon interest, and the rate of that interest is called as coupon rate. So what happened is, the person who hold my bond, I give him the interest every year. For example, he bought the bond from me for ₹10,000, and now he is holding it, and now if he want, he can sell this bond to someone else. There is no restrictions for that. I will give the interest to someone who hold my bond. That's it. I don't look into who is holding it. I look only into the bonds. Where is my bond? To that bond, I will pay. And all these things are dematerialized. That means I can issue the bonds and the debentures in case of dematerialization. And dematerialization is mandatory when the issue value is more than 10 crores. Right? So, when the issue value is more than 10 crores, I can opt only dematerialized issues. That means no paper, no pen. I do the issue of equities in electronic form. I do the issue of debts in electronic form with the help of depository participants or the depository or the depositories in India. I have to enter a contract with them for the dematerialization of my securities, and through that I can distribute the securities to the public. So these are the two ways in which I can go for a public issue, either debts or equities. So that's about the public issue of securities, the stock market.